great afternoon. Happy and blessed Wednesday, everyone. I hope you all are doing great. I'm just blessed to be here, y'all. For those who are new here, welcome. My name is Catherine Barnett, and I go by Cat Barnett, and this is the Cat Barnett Podcast. Episode 57 is crazy. Um, I'm super, first of all, I want to say I'm super grateful, but I also want to apologize for coming to you guys late today. Last minute today, well, that I decided when I woke up is I wanted to change the scenery. I wanted to try something new. And in the process of doing that, I didn't come as prepared. I forgot my mic. I hope you guys can hear me. Um, I still brought like my lighting that I use, but I don't know. I'm just not really liking the lighting here. And I just feel out of my element. And then, of course, when I was out of my element, I was not dealing with time. And then that was making me anxious. So, all this to say is that the devil is a liar. We talk about Jesus and God on my platform. If you're new here, unapologetically. I'll never push my faith on you, but uh, a big part of my life and even my journey, my story is God and Jesus, and I'm just a big and firm believer in Him. And then, secondly, is you know, I truly believe disruption leads to intention. When you are doing great things or on the verge of growing or doing great things, the devil or whatever you believe in, negative forces, but the devil, in my case, will try to disrupt that because he does not like that. He does not like when we are in aligned, when we know our purpose, when we're serving others and being a blessing and uh, getting closer and building a relationship with Jesus. He doesn't like that. So every day he is doing things in our lives spiritually to try to discourage us, disrupt us, make us lose our confidence and forget who and whose we are. And I'm not here to preach to you all today, but the topic and episode that I'm talking about is why it's important to share your story and your journey and what you went through and where you are today with others so it can inspire others to do the same. And for me, my journey, my story is just a lot of things, but there's big significant parts in my story that have shaped me into who I am today and the woman that I'm growing into today. So with that being said, is our stories are important, y'all. And if you're feeling like discouraged or that you're a nobody, I'm here to tell you today that you are a somebody and that you're valuable and your story has importance and it's valuable. So I also don't believe, like I said, Lord, bear with me, y'all. I'm out of my element, but I also don't believe I went and said that I also help women who struggle with confidence in their faith and fitness develop strategies and systems that lead them to gain clarity, direction, and purpose so that they can be fulfilled as they walk in their calling faithfully. And that also ties into this episode because a big part of my story and journey is sports. I fell in love with sports at a very young age, and thank God that even to this day, um, 31 years and a half years later, I still am in sports. I am a basketball coach at a middle school here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, seventh and eighth grade girls. And then I'm also at a couple of sport complexes here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, the director of adult leagues. So I am blessed that I am still around sports, and my journey still has allowed me to be around things that I love and that I'm passionate about. Um, but there's also things in my story and my journey that have affected me. I felt like in a very, traumatic or a very um, complex way that, but in the midst of it, I was very feeling like this is the end, whatever. But it helped build me and shape me and mold me into the person that God is continuing to prune me into. And so um today, I want to go over, why it's important to share your story. And a large part of the impacts, if we're talking about of history, are the stories that keep those moments alive, that allow us to tap into what was then and what is now. And all of our experiences that we go through end up intertwining with each other. And with that, I believe it is very important and crucial that we share our stories, journeys, lessons, adversity, and victories along the way that we've been through and overcame and got to the other side of it. So there are many reasons why I believe that it's important to share your story. And I think the beauty of it all is that everyone may come from a different place as to why and what they've been through. And the um, the few things that I want to go over is why it's important to share your story. So when you share your story, you help others feel less alone. When you feel alone, you end up lacking resources and community due to being in isolation. I know I've been there, especially me being an outgoing introvert. I know what it feels like to, um, by default, isolate yourself. And sometimes it's not necessarily by choice, it's just kind of just that subliminally automatic thing because that's what I'm used to, and that's what introverts will be used to. But I think boundaries are very important, and we all have those days where we just want solitude. But finding a friend who gets that is very important as well. And because I know for me personally, whenever I'm having like a blah day, like even today, like I just feel like I've been out of my element. I've been tried, I've been provoked. The devil is trying me today, I feel like, but I still am finding the beauty and the joy and the gratitude in the midst of it. I just come back to myself. And um but when know, or when my friends know that hey, like I tend to not take it out on other people. So when I tell my friends, they know that I just need to recharge and I'll be good. Or if I'm having not a great day, they know all I need is a day or two to recharge, and I'm okay. And so I also believe when you share your story, you encourage others to share their stories as well. So um, I think it's very important because it helps people relate to you, and it helps them know that they're also not alone when you're sharing your story, when you're being vulnerable. because I used to personally think vulnerability was a weakness, but the older I got, I realized that being vulnerable takes courage, and it's also a strength. It takes um a lot of bravery, and for you to be strong and willing to be vulnerable and open. Even me coming on here each and every week consistently with you guys, and always, I believe, keeping it real with y'all. But there are times in episodes where I'll get a little more vulnerable and share more of my story, because I know if I'm sharing my story, and even one person can relate to my story, or one person is like, wow, like that inspired me to share my story and help someone else, then I believe I'm doing my purpose. I'm one of my uh, uh, things that I'm called, or I feel like I'm chosen to do, is to serve and be a blessing to others. So I think that that's helping me do that. And so I also believe another thing is, when you share your story, it creates community and connections with people with similar challenges. So you've heard me say on the podcast, different episodes, that I'm an outgoing introvert, like I said today, but over time I realized that community, building relationships and connections, is everything in life. Even if you're a Christian like myself, in the Bible, um, Jesus was big on community. That's why he had disciples and wanted them to go out and disciple other people in the world. So I think by sharing some of my tools and some of the things and hardships I went through, it can help someone else. So and it feels great to be able to support someone that you can connect with, or you just have a strong understanding of where they are in life, or why they struggled, or what they went through in life. And so when you can connect with someone and bond in that way, I just think it's a very just powerful thing. And you won't know that until you get out there and you experience it for yourself. You build, or you join a community yourself. And so I encourage anyone watching this, or watching the replay, just to get in, or a part of a group or a community. I also believe that when you share your story, it helps others when we know the knowledge that they may not want someone else to have went through, or just vice versa. So it's important, whatever you're going through, to build your tools. And like I said, one of those tools is community, and finding different passions you like, or hobbies, is also another thing. So just be mindful, and that. And when you share your story, um, you are better able to process the experience and move forward and heal. So, say if you had a traumatic part of your journey or your story, that it shook you to your core, like it really changed you as a person. And for a while, like for years, you were just down and out, depressed. You don't know how you were going to make it. Maybe you were even suicidal, right? My last episode was about suicide. So if you didn't check that out, I encourage you to watch the replay on my YouTube channel, because I explained, I was vulnerable with you guys on that episode too, that suicide is a big has a big place in my heart just due to how it affected me in my story. And so, not going to go into that on this episode. You can watch the previous one to know what I'm talking about. But there were things that I went through in my life that I feel like at a young age were traumatic, that I did seek out community. I did seek out friends and support from family. I did seek out talking to a professional therapist or counselor, if you may call it that. Um, so that was just a part of my story, but I healed from that. And but now it doesn't define me. It's just a part of my story. Another incident 6.5 years ago. This is now me as a young adult, but still young. And I'd like to say still young and dumb a little bit. 6.5 years ago, just I'd like to say a rookie dumb mistake. I was um, charged with, on my record, with the OWI. If you don't know what that is, that means operating while intoxicated. So I think in the past they called it DUI, which is driving under the influence. So that was when I was, I say, a younger pup, straight out of college, and just still figuring life out, and made a dumb decision. And I did pay for it. I feel like it affected my life for at least a couple years, I felt like. And even now, it doesn't affect my life anymore because thank God I learned from it. I rarely drink, and it's no longer on my record, praise God. So if people do pull that up, you will not find that. So I just um share it with people because that's part of my story, and it's part of what shaped me, because it drew me closer, I say, to God and building my relationship with him. And it's, a saving thing. I feel like that's something that could have made me spiral and go a different direction and be out here in the streets or doing stuff that's just crazy and reckless. Or it made me rely and lean on God when it felt like nobody else was there in that situation or with me, which they were, but it felt like a lonely process. And it strengthened my relationship with him, which is now helping me grow as an individual and the woman that he's called me to be. So that's the side that I chose to pick and lean into. So thank God for that. But that's part of my story. And also, whereas I'd like to say I've healed from things in the past, but I do like to just look back on glimpses of things that I've went through in the past, just like reflect, if you will say, just to see how far I've came and to be proud of the person I am now. And to remember that when I'm feeling down, to remember that I'm not that person anymore, and that I've grown into a whole different young woman. And so, all that to say that sharing your story might even save someone's life, if we want to go that deep. Because I always like to encourage you guys to grow and get uncomfortable, step out of your comfort zone, and find something that's going to stretch you every day. And so this is just another thing that I want to encourage you guys to: don't be ashamed of your story or something that has helped impact your journey, because sharing that with people can really um, inspire other people to do the same. And so when people realize, what I've learned in life is, when people realize that they're not alone, when others can relate to them, that's when I feel like it's very uh, magical. Like, it's something about it when you know that, hey, that person has also been through or can relate to what I'm saying. It's like that bond that you guys build is just it's special. It's special. So if you don't take anything from this episode, it's, don't be ashamed of what your past, where you've came from. Be grateful where you are now, and don't be ashamed to share your story, because you never know who is going to inspire and who is going to help share their story as well. So I hope you guys got value from this episode. With that being said, please have a great rest of your day, and even better week. And I'll see y'all next Wednesday again. And as always, peace, love, and blessings. And God bless you guys.